working from the nose down, we had talked about the S1 and S2, what that does, and that runs the MPS manifold. And then we talked about the manual. If you lost all power, you got the manual shift. Putzmeister, if you want to come down here, they do it electronically. So you see the little different. If you would have ordered, you're going to have to hold that lever, of course, but you get wheel pump, the forward reverse. Enough to get, you know, whatever you got left. You got 4 yards left on the truck. You hold it, get the 4 yards off. Okay, we're stopping it for the day. So that gets you out of the pinch. Then we talked about the hydraulic accumulator pump running the bottle at 100 bar, and then the inert gas nitrogen presses against another 100 bar, and that gives you 200 bar. And I'll show you how to check for pre-tension here in a second. The engine is a Caterpillar C4.4, and you're going to change the fuel filter, the air filter, the oil filter, and the hydraulic filter. So on the outer here. We do use an AW46 hydraulic fluid with a red tint. Red against white, you can see it really good if you get a leak. Really good. So we use anywhere 46. It's an AW. And you should get about 4,600 hours out of it. Should. If you keep it clean, you change the filter, you know, every 250 engine hours, you will get the 4,000 hours out of life. You should. It's short of, you know, you blowing something and drain the tank and then you have to add to it. On the hydraulic tank itself, the tank is shaped into a V. The only the system's called a closed loop system. So the same oil that stays in them pistons that are screwing back and forth usually stays there. On the foremost, most of it will stay in there. Now there's this system where it can add to or take away, sort of a hydraulic lock. If you say you broke a line and you tightened it back up, it can add to itself. It can. But for the foremost, it stays closed. So the only way you now can get water into the system is condensation in the tank, or you dump in raw water. Okay. Now there is an exchange in the water box, and we'll go over that you have to keep clear. There is exchange there that you could possibly get water, but it's kind of uncommon, but it can happen. So they built the tank in a V, so all the water's going to run one way. And on this side here, not much, about once a week, a little water box. Not much at all. The loop, we're doing the condensation, and this is at the beginning of the morning when the water and oil are separated, and they cool down and come to one side. You do it during the job. You want to know? Yeah. Yes.
All right, text me your information again, please, the address, and probably Wednesday, if everything goes good, I'm a porter right now, picking up a machine, but I think, no, I'm out at work, so I'm just here and back, so maybe Wednesday or Thursday I should be able to free up and go out there. All right, sounds good, man. Thanks, man. Bye.
So there's a low point on the tank. This would be in the morning when, just like salad dressing, you can shake it up and then after a while it separates. Same way. If you do it in the middle of the job or at the end of the day, it's still mixed. You gotta let it in the morning.
In the morning.
Sit on a flat surface before you leave your house.
Yeah.
Drain it just a little bit. I know a lot of guys put oil and diesel on their machine to keep it from sticking. That's where they're using the oil from. So every day they're draining a little bit off anyway. So the same with the fuel tanks. There is a low pot, a fuel petcock on each tank, low part, and that's because there is returning fuel. That's hot. That's how the injection pump is cooling off, is a cold fuel. So there is an exchange there too. So that's the reason why the condensation. So two on either end, and then one for the hydraulic tank.
Okay.
For condensation. Now, on the engine, I know you're going to run across a lot of guys, a lot of older pump men. Hey man, I'll show you how to run this thing. Man, don't listen to them. As you can see, the straight shaft runs through the main pump, through the hydraulic pump, and then this is a Barnes dual cylinder pump. So it's a mechanical pump. There is no internal regulator. It needs an internal regulator or external regulator, and here's one of them here. See the regulator?
Uh-huh.
And that runs, so the first stage runs your agitator. The second stage runs, all that thing is doing at 32 liters a minute is sucking fluid out of the main tank, run it through the cooler, run it through the filter, and back to the tank. That's all that pump does. So if you turn the engine down, now you're turning your cooling and cleaning capability down. So you gotta run the machine all the way out, full out, all the time. And there's a double redundant system. You can't override the machine. If you pull this all the way out, it's gonna be at 2200 RPMs. So it's governed there and then at the injection pump. It can't go any higher. Okay. So once you grab it and pull it all the way out and you leave it, that's its high idle. Can't go any higher.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you can turn it down. When you're waiting for a truck, or press it in, and you can sit there and let it idle. That's acceptable. But when you're pumping fully, you need to run it all the way out and run the flow control all the way in. Flow control. And that's moving the piston cups at a certain speed. So in percentage wise, what you're doing actually is a remote. It's a remote regulator running the main drive pump. That's actually what it is. And what that's in percentage wise, you're telling the hydraulic pump to come online. 10%, 20%, 40%. So that's what you're doing. So each turn is a percentage of 10%. So you get, in theory, 10 full turns, 100%. 10 full turns in, the zero would be the pump would put no oil out. I mean, it would be putting oil out, but not pressure. It's got to move oil somewhere, therefore. There's a tank line or case, I believe, case line that leaves the back pressure off. So it is actually moving oil somewhere. So that's when you return it in percentage-wise. You tell the pump to come on. So start just like a water faucet. The more you screw it in, the slower it goes. The more you screw it out, the more the water flows, the faster it goes. And that's telling the pistons move at that speed. The hydraulic pump does. So there's a conversion. If you look at the tag, it'll tell you, 35 strokes a minute. And this has been Schwing's curse for 20 years. An operator will call us up and say, listen, I'm out here pumping.
Hello? Okay, I'm in. Yes, sir. Okay, no, gracias. Dale.
Sigo en lo mío.
Okay, so I don't remember where we were. Oh, the main drive pump, percentage-wise. So we had gone over. So the problem is at Schwing is he's going to see the tag, or an operator will see the tag. Listen, I'm only getting 35 strokes a minute. The machine is supposed to, but on the job, I'm only getting 12 strokes a minute. Well, at some point, the pump needs to convert. So just like your skid steer, when you start getting into it, you hear it bog down for a second, then pick back up because the pump's converting. Now you're not asking for volume, you're asking for pressure. So that's what the pump is
doing.
converts, correct. So at 80 bar, we would set this. So, you know, you're telling the customer, listen, the paperwork on this pump shows that it should pump 70 yards an hour. That's below 80 and only pumping water. It's recycling into itself, and we got 80 or 75 yards an hour. On real time on the job, you're pumping at 125 bar.
Okay.
So the pump now is converted. Now it's asking for pressure, not volume. Well, you're not moving 48 liters a minute no more. You can't, because you're asking for pressure. So now it's got to slow down and force it through. plug must be in before it works. You take it out and leave it dangling, it won't work, nothing will work. You know, the operator control panel. And then that's up for control panel. Yeah.
So this is forward and that's
Reverse, right? And then that's stop on every function. So you turn it on, turn it off, down, turn it off. Yeah. So this is not applicable. You can if you want, and then hydraulic cooler, right?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Yeah.
Shit, I forgot what that one was.
We talked about that. You turn it on and turn it off. Why would you turn it on and turn it off?
Oh, to
Agitator, correct.
Agitator.
Correct. And then this was for a vibrate mode. Yeah. So you got the oil down, the grease, the trap door.
I got all that.
Yeah.
And then we got on.
Oh, we'll put everything on YouTube. We'll make you famous.
Now, we had a theory in Schwing. There was about 85% of all accidents were safety related. So be mindful when you turn the machine on in the morning. I told you out here it hiss. Hear it hiss. You turn it off. You don't hear the hiss anymore, right? The same if this hopper safety brake switch was up. If it's up and you got your hands in there and you try to start it, it's not going to start on you. It keeps your hands from being in there. Now, be mindful when you have it reversed and you're pumping backwards and it's a stiff load and it's lifting the grate up, it's going to shut you off. You're going to have to push the grate back down. So be mindful of that. If this breaks, I suggest you call it work and get another one.
Yes.
It's going to save yourself. That thing shifts at 200 bar. I mean, it's 5,500 psi. It'll take your arm off.
Now, mind you, if it breaks and you need it for an immediate job, you can break it off from there.
Yeah.
There's two cables, tie them together, and you bypass it while you get the right one. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You just put it just says A and B, and you put A on B or B on A. You put them together. But yeah, I would get a new one. I wouldn't leave it like that. You know what I mean? I would, but that's up to you. If you like having both arms, I mean, that's. I don't know if that's a qualification on a job site, but you know.
Hey, we do have to put a grease fitting here, right?
Yeah, you showed me that.
Yeah.
Usually it comes with the string with a grease fitting.
All right. So we're good. We're done.
Yeah, and then we got electric brakes, and then of course your trailer hardware. This is all oil fed. Any 8,000 or 8Ks gonna have oil bath, and they have brakes on them, and it runs through a pigtail for an RV, just a newer style for a truck. The only thing that you don't have is a reverse. You don't have a reverse light. Those will come off your truck. Battery panel, and then there's side of storage. And you got your safety chains, a 10K jack. It's right over here. You got the key. We're going to let you not have a locked box now. On your quilting, you have mechanical on both sides. It's feeding off one side or one side. You fill this up, you can do it slowly. I generally fill up to this. And usually, if you fill this all the way up, you have to close up. Back to the holder, you put all your documents in. All one.
We need the manual to it. I mean, we're still gonna send you that.
A lot of guys come with the whole team home for you got LED trailer lights. You can, mostly they're made for on the job site if you're leaving the job site. So you switch this on all the way down, you jack these down to the program. That's easy. I mean, I never met a plug I couldn't get out in 40 minutes. You know, never. Well, I should say that. I mean, somebody, one of the plants was putting new bends in, and they left them 2-inch washers and cut them off and let them drop in there. And one got in my hose, and that fucking took forever. But other than a piece of steel, I mean, a plug and shit, I can get out plug out in 30 seconds. Just pretty easy.
So this one, this right here needs one of these.
Ah, yeah, you're right. Huh. Ah, okay, right, the factory didn't put one in. Okay, I got a bunch of them. So then you got 3 grease points. This controls the back bearing, and then the other 2 are for the shift over arm. There's actually 2 more here and on the other side, but these things don't move but 0.5 millimeter every stroke. I grease these usually about once a week, if that.
Okay.
Most of the people I see on jobs, I don't think they've ever greased them ever, you know, and they still come out. So you got 3 here, 1 here, 1 for the front bearing, and then on the other side for the dummy bearing. And you grease this at the end of the job, and then after every 50 yards. So if you're doing 60 yards, when 50 pulls away and 60 backing up, I give everything 2 shots. What the actually bearing looks like. Now come over here. I'll show you a German version of a bearing. Here. I mean, just like your bucket bearing. Almost.
No, todo sí, me he hecho todo, voy a sacar todo.
I got a tube for you. There's a part number on it. I highly recommend it. It's up to you. It's a little expensive. They're about $4, $5 a tube versus, you know, the 99-cent job. But that's built for a pump. All the grease fittings, right? And that'll give you your extended life. Yeah, because you get me to go in the SN, you know, $4 grand. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's gonna be expensive. Yeah. All because somebody didn't grease them. And I mean, it don't take much, man. I mean, you'd be surprised what up here. Let's keep the rubber. It's the same old different steel. Here, this is in a TK point. Not a TK point. Cut the Grand Canyon, right? Do a little bit of sand, a little bit of water. Watch out, you're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
So that's what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? And it's gonna cost you about
50 yards.
With 50 yards leaves and 60 backing up, I pop everything. And then at the end, when I wash out, I run the sponge through the hose and it pops out the other end. I turn the machine off. I grease everything, so I know the grout's now inside the hopper. I go get, you know, as the water's now filling up the 3rd hopper full of water, I go and get my clamps, wash them all off on the screen, throw them back in the truck, get on my hoses, wash them up. I wash my water box out, put it away. Your hopper's now full. I throw the hose away, and then I give you a hopper full of water. Now to bust the reducer over, wash your hands, wash your boots off. Your ticket sign, boom, I'm gone. So I fill 3 hoppers up, and then when you hit your top door at the final, whatever sand or rock you left, it washes away. You know, because you are going to leave about a 5-gallon bucket. When you put that first, when you pump the hopper all the way down, you put your water in there, and now you push the concrete through the hose with the water. And when you bust the trap door loose, you're going to get about a 5-gallon bucket full of sand and rock and a little bit of concrete. To be gray water for sure. So you're gonna have to be mindful if you're on a residential street. I used to go to Walmart and buy them cheap ass $3 bowls, and then I throw them on, you know, with my compressor, I fill it up. Throw that on there, I'd wash out. I'd scoop the water away and throw it in the grass, and the sand and rock I'd throw it up on the truck, and the next dumpster I hit, 7-Eleven, throw that bitch right. That's what I do. Now if you got into emergency and you had to leave the concrete, the pool contains it, and then later on you can send your send skirt over there, pick it up, put it on your trailer, take off. It don't cost you anything, it don't cost nobody enough. If you leave it on the ground, which I had to do, man, it cost me. And not only that, somebody run through it and drug that shit down the fucking subdivision. Fuck. and the fucking street guy wanted me to pay for a bunch of tar, and I would sent some boy out there with a chipper. Oh, that was fun. He chipped right in the fucking asphalt, and the concrete pulled the asphalt off too. Oh fuck, man. It cost me about fucking $5 grand to fix the goddamn road. So trust me, you want to invest in a pool too. Cheap one, you know. You can buy them on Amazon for about $2. Yeah. I've seen a box of 20 for like $100. I would bought them fucking things. But it's cheap, you know, you can see out of the pitch. There is, we do offer a slip pad. And this, I don't know what you're going to use for lubrication. This is for, and you're priming out. We got our own house brand. It's a little bit cheaper. I think it's a little better, but they're pretty much the same.
So this one, a 5-gallon bucket.
5-gallon bucket. Let it sit for no less than 20 minutes, and then throw it in just before you prime out. And it makes it slicker than shit, and it's biodegradable versus you using oil and water and all other crazy shit. And that's what I used to use in the 80s. Like I put probably 1 million gallons of oil and priming out. In Portland, it's messy. You know what I mean? That gets in your lungs and shit. That's up to you. And I always got somebody on the job, man. They watch you. Hey man, what is that? Man, it generates heat. It goes in the pump and it cures concrete. Really? You never drained in there. Oh fuck. You motherfucker. I always got one guy on the job, always. If you asked me what it was, you were in trouble. You were done. And then about half the day they come back, man, I still can't hold on to nothing. Yeah, I know. So then you got some simple gauges on the motor. You got heating coils, oil, temperature, and your alternator. Hour meter, RPM gauge. This option is for an alternate or for a vibrator. This would be by hand. You could turn on. It would stay on all the time, or only in a pump forward gear. It would come on. And then you've got your cooler. Here, your cooler come on. A lot of guys, especially here in Florida, if it was my pump in Florida, I would wire them together. So when you turn the key switch on, they stay on. It does have a sensor in it, and it will come on, but I don't know, you know cooking oil, but once you start going, it'll climb way out of sight. You know what I mean? So by the time that comes on, it'll go another 40 degrees past that. So I don't ever let it get that high. I wire them together. So it's up to you. If you're in a cooler climate, I mean, if you get down to 30 degrees, I mean, that's a consideration here. I haven't had a hot water heater in fucking 10 years, so I don't ever get that goddamn cold. It's up to you.
So just keep it on all the time.
Yeah. And what region are you going to be in?
Knoxville, Tennessee. We got crazy weather, but
yeah, it might get a little cold, so it's up to you. If you start up in the morning and it reads below 70 degrees, you're not really pumping really too good. The machine's not acting really crazy. So what I usually do is I turn the quarter turn valve, you know, where you block it off so it can't pump forward or reverse. I only go about not a full turn. Just jump right on my green toolbox here.
You're Unit B, right?
Yep, Jed Alliance. You're new, aren't you?
I just coming in today.
Oh shit, you must have partied. Yeah, right here, right where you dropped them off Friday. See him on the ground? All right, whatever. But what were we talking about now?
let's put it on the reverse.
Oh, okay. So the quarter turn valve is close it and it would move the signal. I put it about a quarter away and pump with it, and it'll bog down. Now this would be with water in the hopper, not much, 5 gallons, you know, just so you can lubricate because there is a compression seal in there.
Sorry about it. This one is for Unit A, and I don't know about this one.
I think that's us. Okay, so this is Kurt right next door, Unit A, and if you go into the secretary, through this white door here, in after, I think Rick's Unit there. So with you know, because there is a that if you look in here, see between the mirror plate and the housing of the rock valve, see this piece of rubber? There's a kidney seal in there, and there's a piece of rubber down here too. So it's floating. That rock valve is floating in rubber. So when you stroke it over and there's no water in there, you're going to tear the rubber seal out. So it's got to have some kind of lubrication, either concrete or some kind of water. So before you would do this in the morning to add the temperature up, you could turn that quarter turn valve fill it up a little water, fill the water box up with water, and just pump with it. And in about 5 minutes, it'll heat up. So that's how I do that. Now you can put a quarter turn valve here, and then I see a lot of guys putting a oiler system. So when you turn your agitator on, you can oil it up real quick and then put it away. And when the quarter turn valve here, you can add heat. Anytime you choke something down, you're gonna add heat, a lot of heat. If you call me up and say, listen, I'm pumping 20 yards and I can't even hold the tank, you got some heat drawn. I turn into a BTU furnace here. So we're gonna find out where the restriction is. That's where you know you got a problem. You go heat. So same effect. So you gotta make sure you take it off because you're gonna pump it and it's gonna you're gonna keep building heat. So that's how I would build it in the morning. If it was 30 degrees and I came out here and you drove and it says 40 degrees, on the job site I'd pump with it for about 10 minutes, just by itself out there running for about 10 minutes if I could go up at 75 degrees. And that's what the cooling handle. So if it's cold, because it's not going to really pump too good, 30 degrees, it's a little too thick, it's sucking the gas. You're not going to get 35. So don't call me up and say you're only getting 20 strokes per minute on the job. Now, I'm going to ask you, well, when you get home, we're going to fire it up and see how many strokes you get with nothing being in there and just a little bit of water in the hopper, how many strokes you get. Well, I'm getting 35 now. Well, okay. I know what happened. You converted.
Okay.
So be leery of that. The higher the pressure you get, the more output you're going to lose. If you're pumping around 200 bar, you'd be lucky to get maybe 30 per hour, maybe. That's a shitload of pressure. The machines will be rocking around, trust me. You have to probably clean it down to the ground. So this can start walking.
All right.
So now we're going on to the water box, and this box here cools and lubricates the piston in the material center. So as one's sucking one in, the other one's pushing out. The rock valve orientates that hole, and now it's pushing through the hose, through the rock valve, out to the pore. So there's a rubber cup on the end of this, a big rubber cup. Let me see if I can show you what they look like. These are smaller ones. These actually go to CK40, but that's what's in there. Go through that. You see that big rod sticking out, and the concrete stays on this side. Water would stay on this side. So this thing goes back and forth. The water cools and lubricates the equipment or the piston.
So I gotta fill that in with water?
Every day you fill it. Every day.
Fill that with water
Every day. So I see a lot of guys fill them up, before they leave the shop. You can do it on the job too. It doesn't matter as long as it gets full. And then by nature, because there's packings in here, there's a set of 6 sealing glands that's in there. Well, they're going to contract because that chrome rod's going to be sticking out. That chrome rod is going to contract different than the sealing glands. So it's going to suck in like a straw of water. Well, next morning when you turn it on, it returns it back to the tank. And that's how you're going to get water in your system. So every day before you leave the job, you're going to drain this. And not only you're draining, you're checking for these bolts here, these connecting bolts. See them? There's 4 of them. The special cap gussets on them. And that holds this dog bone. When I take that piston cup out, I take this dog bone out, run this up to here, clamp it. As you can see, there's a clamp, and I pull it back and pull it out of there. So them 4 bolts hold the dog bone and the piston cup and the backing rod together. So when you wash it out, I put it 1 stroke, and when I see it, I stop it, I wash it out, I look at visually inspect them 4 bolts, I flip it again, run the other side up, stop it, wash it out, look at them 4 bolts, I'm done. I put the handle back on, handle just comes up, and it just locks down, and that pulls your water in, and then that releases your water.
That's for the clean that's right there.
After you're done, yeah. I do this the very last part of the clean out.
Yeah.
This is after, just before I roll the hose up, I do this very last. I roll the hose up, I throw the hose on there, and then I do a few other things, and I'm done. So that's the very last part of it. So then you got the accumulator bottle. You got your agitator, forward reverse. This one's a manual lever, and this is actually going to turn it on. There's just a Schrader valve in there, or a double redundant safety valve in there, and that works off the E-stop and the hopper brake switch. If you let the hopper brake switch off, even though this thing's on, it's going to turn it off. It's going to tell the fluid now to go back to the tank instead of coming back to the function. That's what you're doing. So if you look in here, you'll see the valve itself. Here. So that button is running this safety dump valve.
Okay.
And you can see the fluid coming in and it dumps it right back to the tank. When it's on, it pushes now to the valve. That's all that thing's doing. So in theory, if you push that button in manually, if the switch had gone bad, manually you can have this work
So,
manually.
okay.
That's what that black button's for. The same as that EDET button here, that black button. You can use that, you know, it's preferably to use the handle, but you can push that in and do the same thing. Manualize it. So you got your hydraulic gauge with a temperature, a small temperature gauge in there. You got your throttle of your engine, flow control. The slow tells the pump in percentage-wise how much to come on. Your operator's control panel is here. So you got 3 e-stop buttons, one here, one on the other side, and one down by the water box. You can hit in case of emergency. The engine's still going to run. On the 2, if you hit this one, the engine dies altogether with all functions. If you don't hear the fan stop, hear it now going.
Yeah.
That's because you open up this fuel solenoid.
Okay.
If you turn it on and you don't hear that buzzing, you know something's wrong.
So that's
Hear it?
one of those.
And now you hear it buzzing. The solenoid's open. And the same with if you're on the switch here. You press it in, it turns it off altogether. Altogether, it turns off. Okay, so then you got on this button here. This is for if you had a remote system, right? And then if you flip it up, it runs the main panel here. So you'd have pump forward, you'd hit stop, pump reverse, you'd hit stop. You understand? Like if it's in the pump forward and it's going to stay in pump forward. It's a latch system. I hit stop and it goes back off.
Okay.
I hit reverse, hit stop, and it goes back off. Yeah.
And it starts pumping up the.
After you
forward.
hit it, it starts pumping forward. Now it's in pumping forward. Boom, 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 boom. The only way you can stop it is you stop it.
All right.
So the latch system breaks the K234 relay.
Okay.
Now, because I bring these up to today's specs, some of the specs that I bring with the older pumps are not applicable. One of them being your throttle control. You have a manual, and this is for a newer model. This would be about from 2019 to current production.
Okay.
I bring everything up to current now. So all the upgrades that you see are up to current specs.
Okay.
Now you can get this to work. Unfortunately, it's going to cost you about $800. You can get this.
That'll work.
You can get this to work, and you can do this on a remote too. That's 800. That's 800. The remote system's about the buy-in is about 1600. So with the remote, you'll be able to get it to go forward, reverse, only,
Okay.
and of course stop. And then later on, you can put this on, cost you $800 additional, and then you can get the machine to rev up and down. And then later on, you can do this. And then that way you can be around a house and not even see the machine and get to do whatever you want to do.
So it's a 2-man operating job right now to operate this.
Correct, unless you buy into either a plug or a remote control.
Yeah.
The plug gives you about 150 feet. Of course, they're cumbersome and you cut them all the time. Or you can get into a remote system. It's about, I think they're about $1,600. And that lets you the capability of going about 1,000 feet away. And they're pretty effective.
Yeah.
So that's how that runs. Now here, you're gonna, here you see the light come on and go out. See it?
Yes.
Come on, go out. And that's all that's doing is dumping this signal. So you turn it on and it's now in a forward gear. You turn it off and it'll stop it. If you want to go into reverse, turn it back on or off.
That reverses.
Yes. Initiate the signal to turn on.
And what does that do? It just makes it mud forward or backwards?
Yeah, so in theory, they're real small as you go. By nature, you want them to roll into the material cylinders. You want them rolling that way. Because if you got a real hard or a bony mix and you're rolling away, you're going to have air pockets.
So
It's always continuous rolling in. That's by nature.
backwards,
Correct. Correct. You always want it rolling into you, into the disc cylinder. However, they're pretty small and they don't do much. Other than they're especially nice is when you're waiting 15 minutes. You got a hose 150 feet away, and you don't really want to wash up yet because you got a truck about 5 minutes away. If you put that dry ass mud on the slab, the finisher will be all pissed off. So you can bring that hose back to you, put it in here, put a little bit of water, turn that on, and now pump, wet it up. You bring the hose back out there, and as soon as that driver puts the money in, boom, it's all brand new again. So that it is convenient for that. Other than that, I mean, they don't really do much.
So when we're waiting for the next pump, we're out. So this thing gets empty. What should I do?
I can wash out in about 15 minutes. Now, not nice, but I can wash out and wait for another truck in 15 minutes. If you know the look on the driver. Hey man, where's the next truck? And he calls and he looks at you. Yeah, it's going to be here in about 35 minutes. You know you're going to get fucked. So you know it's going to be probably an hour. So I hurry and wash out. So I wash out in 15 minutes, and now I got all the time in the world to wait. I get back in the truck, bullshit, talk to the finishers, try to fuck the slab up as much as I can, so I can stay there longer, whatever. Do whatever you got to do. But I got all the time in the world. Now, if I'm waiting, and the driver goes, man, he's right around the corner. He should be here any second. And he pulls out, and then 15 minutes later, so now I'm making a phone call. As I'm making a phone call, I'm grabbing the hose and putting it back in here, and now I'm re-wetting. So that gives you, usually, you can wait 15 minutes, re-wet it, and wait another 15 minutes. You get about a half hour out of it, out of the mud. If it's not too hot, if it's, here, if it's not $100 day, if it's 90 degrees, you make 30 minutes. They put enough retarder in there, you can make 30 minutes pretty easily. If it's $100, no, hell no, man, I'll get it out. If it's got super P or something bullshit in there, man, I'm taking it out. Let's pump it out, man. It's not worth cleaning out 150 foot of hose. I don't know if you've done that yet, but that's fucking really fun, man. Yeah. Fuck that. And then what happens is when you bust the trap door loose, you get the hole around the trap door and you gotta fuck the trap door, more car and shit. It's too fucking hot to do that, I wash up and I wait. Too easy, really. I don't know, have you seen them wash up, but I run one hopper through, and when the water comes out, I stop, bust the reducer off. I put it machine in reverse, slow reverse, put the water hose in there, wash the rock valve out, it gets clean, wash out around the rock valve and the silk and the shafts, put the trap door back on, fill it back up, put my sponge in the hose, and blow that out. 15 minutes.
Close through here, right?
Yeah. I put a sponge in there, and now it cleans my hose out. So now the pump and the hose are clean. That's my way forever.
We hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much.
You might have to mix it.
Continue seeing more content like this. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, you can just go right here on this link to our website, liveequipment.com, for a complete list of equipment available for sale. Or just keep navigating to our channel. Have a great day.